I've never been a bigger Indiana fan my entire life, bro. I've never been a bigger Indiana
Hey, we
fan
were
than this
Indiana
week.
fans in June when we were watching basketball. Come on, we were rooting for the
That's true.
Pacers.
Yeah, yeah. Why is nobody I want to win, and everybody I hate win?
Welcome back, benchwarmers. We are entering the conference championship weekend in college football.
Which basically means we're nearing the time to see who's going to be playing in that 12-team college football playoff.
Hey, we could even have a back-to-back champion this year. Just saying.
Stop, Corey. Stop. I'm not allowed to talk crap. You know that until a whole year has passed, until a new champion is crowned. A new champion is crowned.
Well,
So
I
I'm not allowed
mean,
to talk crap. Let's just.
it's the same team, but it's a new version of that team that could win.
No.
Because, people
No.
graduate and leave. I know
Stop.
you're mad. It's fine.
No. That is kind of crazy, though, that they can do it. There's only been one team to do it in the college football playoff era, which, it's only been like 10, 11 years. That was Georgia, 21-22. Of course. Before that, it was Alabama in the BCS era and SC. Well, kind of.
Yeah, well, complicated.
They tried to take that away. They tried to take that away. We all were watching, so can't get it out of my memory. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
All right. Well, we got a lot of college football playoff to talk about, or college football, I'm sorry, to talk about. But before we get started, if you're not already, don't forget, subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss any one of the new episodes.
Also, if you could please do us the favor, if you like what you see here, please don't forget to slap that like button.
Slap it for us. Come on. It's free. It's free for you. It's free for us. Helps out the channel a lot more than you probably think.
Hell yeah.
Well, as much as I would love to start by talking about all of the stuff on the field, there is just too much right now going on off the field to start anywhere but in the SEC with Ole Miss and LSU. Obviously, everything surrounding Lane Kiffin. He will be leaving Ole Miss, heading to LSU after an 11-1 season. Killing it, bro. And I mean, it's a smart opportunity, right?
Yes, agreed. It's a bigger program, or one of the blue bloods compared to Ole Miss, but it's also still the SEC, so you're not really upgrading as far as conferences are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, he 11-1 and not being able to finish the run with that team that he kind of that he built over these years. That kind of sucks, right? Like, I feel like I would want to finish what I started. But
yeah, and that's kind of where a lot of the controversy kind of comes into. I was reading an article yesterday by Mark Schlabach. I might have said that incorrectly, on ESPN. From yesterday, it was released, and that's kind of where a lot of the he said, she said turmoil is going on, because some of the players actually confronted Lane Kiffin because they heard that he was basically not even going to coach them throughout the rest of their playoff run. But which, when I initially thought, and maybe give me your point before I continue with the story, I was kind of like, well, that's kind of lame, Lane. Like, don't just bail on them. Like, at least finish the season, and then you want to go to LSU, so be it, right? I mean, that only seems right.
I agree. That's what I would do. I mean, you've been there for, I don't know how long he's been. It's probably 4 or 5 years at least that he's been there. So
I think
this
it's
is
4 or 5.
okay. So this is your entire recruiting group. You recruited all these guys or had them transfer. It's not your first year and you're just kind of getting started. You've been there for a while. You got everything going. You have this great year and you have a chance to make a run in the college football playoff. And maybe again, it's not necessarily his fault, I guess, either, because this is the schedule, as they say, of the college football. Like, the recruiting window is like 2 days from today, or was yesterday, or whatever. So, like, in the middle of, we're getting ready for the playoffs to start, players are also deciding whether they want to transfer or not, and coaches are taking new jobs. Like, why are we doing this now? Why can't we get through all of this, and then when it's over, everyone can do whatever they want, transfer, take a new job, whatever. But let's at least finish the season we're in the middle of, and especially if it's a good one and you're Ole Miss. Like, for the first time, Ole Miss has a chance to go in the college football playoff and making a run, and now, because of the timing of the scheduling and the offer that Lane was given and can't say no to, we just all right, see you later, thanks, we'll do what we can without you. Like, that sucks. I feel bad for the players more than I do for anybody else.
Yeah, I do too. Just so as a heads up, his first season was 2020. So yeah, 5 years at Ole Miss, like you said. So, but a lot of the stuff that kind of surrounded it, because I was, like you said, I was kind of siding with the players. Like, dude, finish your job first. Like, I get that if you want the opportunity. His contract is, I think, 7 years, and people have been saying close to $100 million.
Yeah,
which is an absurd amount of money to coach. Now, I understand college football is a moneymaker. and the SEC is the king of college football. I know the Big Ten's kind of creeping in a little bit here and there, but it's still SEC is the king of
Yeah,
college football. So one of the biggest schools in the biggest conference, you're going to get paid that money, and it's an opportunity that's hard to pass up. But the more and more I looked into it, it just doesn't seem like something Lane would do. I've never heard Lane being an asshole kind of like that.
true.
And really, it goes on to explain that the Ole Miss athletic director was kind of the one who made the choice. There's a quote in the article from Keith Carter. I'll read it here. It says, quote, Kiffin had an opportunity to coach in the playoff, and that would have been to stay at Ole Miss, and he chose not to do that. That's his choice, and I respect that choice. But we had to make a choice. And talking with the team and spending time with them, I think they know they need coaches to make a playoff run. In short, it's because the article goes on to say, Ole Miss officials want to avoid its historic college football playoff run becoming a month-long infomercial for LSU's next head coach. They also didn't want Kiffin coaching their players once he has already chosen to leave, because exactly what you noted was that recruiting and the transfer portal opens up January 2nd, and it would have given Kiffin more time to potentially recruit some of the people who are already on the Rebels, who are still going to be in college football, to LSU to go move over. So the basic thing that they were trying to say was like, look, it's not that we don't want you to coach our kids to see how far that they can get up to the college football playoff and see how deep the run can be. It's all of the other stuff surrounding the idea of you no longer being the coach here that we need to avoid.
Yeah.
And I kind of, to be honest with you, as much as I don't like it from the player's perspective, I kind of get it, right?
Yeah, I do, and especially because it's the same conference. I think that it's the SEC, especially like you said, that's the cream of the crop as far as college football is concerned. So anything within that conference, they don't help each other or want to give each other any benefits of any kind. So because
Understandable.
it's conference to conference, I even more so understand now the UCLA thing where the guy from James Madison's going to UCLA and the guy from Tulane is going to Florida. Well, both those colleges, Tulane and James Madison, are very, very small on the scale compared to the schools they're going to. One. Two, they're in a
Yeah,
completely different conference. And again, not on the same level of recruiting or anything like that. And
agree.
Tulane and James Madison have not been this good in a while to have a chance. So those programs and schools have decided we're going to let you finish this run because one, we never get to have this opportunity. So we don't want to
Yes,
squander it. And two, yeah, you might recruit a couple of these guys to go to the bigger school, but that's what happens at our school every year anyway, whether you're here or not coaching. Like every year,
that's a good
all
point.
these smaller schools get some good players, and then the bigger schools see them and like, hey, let's get those guys. And they leave, and then they kind of start over from the process at the small schools. So from that perspective, let Tulane guy do it, let UCLA guy do it, or whatever. But yeah, SEC, Lane Kiffin, he's already been in the SEC for a while and knows it well. Coached at Tennessee, like they all know him very well and know what he can or can't do or will try to do or not do. So I kind of understand in the long run what the best decision is for the program. But as a player, like, dang, I signed up to play with Lane and now I don't even get to take that chance in a playoff run when I think Lane would be really good in getting those guys ready and preparing them, but I get it, but I also, it sucks at the same time. Like, it's, stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, no. Besides his 2-year stint at Florida Atlantic, where he was kind of remaking his
Yeah.
head coaching career, he's been in the SEC since 2014 as the offensive coordinator and
Oh,
quarterbacks coach
Alabama.
at Alabama.
Forgot.
Then he took that time off at Florida Atlantic. Um, and that, even to your point, he coached a year at Tennessee before becoming the head coach of USC. And then, yeah, obviously
Oh,
that
yeah.
didn't really
Dang.
pan out very well. So he's been at some big schools, and he's been in the SEC for almost 10 years now. So I can understand. I can understand Ole Miss's point. I think.
Yeah.
I think the story goes on to kind of talk about, though, and this is kind of where it gets a little bit weird, and maybe where Ole Miss has an even more of a point. LSU was pretty not LSU. Lane Kiffin, I'm sorry, was pretty annoyed that he wasn't going to be able to coach his team. I think he really did want to. And
Yeah.
in an effort to kind of try to, I don't know, threaten, I guess you can say, this school, he basically told that athletic director, Keith Carter, for Ole Miss that, um, because they weren't going to let him coach, he was like, you know what, then I might take some of these coaches that are already here. I'm going to take them to LSU with me.
Oh.
And a lot of people were like, is that what happened? Did he really say that? Well, according to the ESPN article, a lot of Ole Miss staffers did say that Kiffin went and told his assistants that if they didn't leave to LSU with him on Sunday, which will be,
Mm-hmm.
I think, was it last Sunday or this upcoming? No, Oh yeah, it was it was last Sunday because they played the Egg Bowl on Saturday.
Yes.
If they did not go on the plane and get to LSU with him on Sunday, then they would not have any sort of job with him in the future. So it got kind of dicey. I don't really know whose side to take. I'm going to obviously kind of be indifferent. I'm not too hyped on Ole Miss or LSU
Yeah,
either
sure. We're
way.
not. Yeah.
But just from a commenter standpoint, I don't like either move. But I understand both. I understand what Kiffin was trying to do, and like if I just tell them that I'm going to take these people, they'll cave. But I also understand Ole Miss saying, bro, we just cannot have you poaching and being around our students, our student athletes, when you are literally playing at a rival school or
Okay.
coaching at a rival school next year.
Question though,
Yeah.
if that's the case, right? They tell him, no, you can't take anybody with you. You got to just go now. Okay. But he tells that coaching staff, like, hey, when the season's over, like, I'll wait to hire my staff at LSU till your season's over. Does that not, isn't that not kind of the same thing? Because then those coaches could be recruiting those same players for the next month to then follow all of them to LSU.
Damn, yeah, that's
You know what I
a
mean?
fantastic point. But what do you do as Ole Miss? You
No,
fire
yeah,
all your
yeah,
coaches?
you
You know
gotta
what I
hire,
mean? You know,
hire everybody and bring in some random dude who
just
coached
for the
high school
playoffs.
football. Like,
Yeah,
I get that,
no,
but
that's a good
I'm just
point.
like,
Yeah,
if the coaching staff is that close with Lane and it's one of those like, hey, yo, I got to go now, but when the time comes, when you guys are done, call me. And if I haven't found someone that I'm like, oh my god, I can't not hire them, and and they're still available for the spot I need, like call me. But also like, hey, keep these coaches, keep these players too. Like, you know what I mean? So I get it from you can't fire everybody, but also like I guess the head coach is usually. But is the head
the
coach even
main
in
guy.
charge of recruiting anymore now that there's NIL and general managers
True.
running the schools and teams? So like I don't even know
True.
if that matters anymore either. There's a lot of different.
Actually,
It just the NIL aspect of it changes all those different ways of looking at it. So I guess that's why I'm just kind of poking holes and trying to figure out how or why it could possibly happen in the future, if at all. I don't know.
no, that's a good point. I actually work with somebody whose sister-in-law, I think sister-in-law, works for the NIL department at USC. Like
Oh,
that's a literal thing that like people. Yeah, to your
yeah, they
point,
have a general
the
manager,
recruitment.
Bowden's his last name. I can't remember his first name, but USC,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, it is a thing.
But to your point, I guess there is still some, right? Because as much as the player wants the money, if they're a high profile player, their end goal, if they're that good, is not getting paid in college football, right? It's
Correct.
getting seen and getting picked up and paid in the NFL.
Yes.
And to that point, you still would then obviously be pretty reliant to at looking who the head coach is and what his track record is and getting people pro,
Mm-hmm.
being seen, winning games. Because obviously, just because you go to, I mean, look at UCLA this year. UCLA is in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
They are a big West Coast school, and there should be absolutely zero people looking at student athletes from UCLA this year,
Yeah.
aside from a few maybe people who are standing out because it's just a bad program. So you need to be winning, you need to be developing, you need to be noting that people are drafting from this school. So all those types of things kind of go into it, and yeah, I don't know, that's rough, but
And the other thing too is I feel like although Lane has, kind of pushed some buttons along the way in his career and kind of irked some people, but he is a lifetime like football lifer. His dad was a
yes.
coordinator forever, and he grew up around the game. He coached in the NFL. He coached in college. I mean, he's done it all and been around it all. So if anybody, I guess, would maybe not make it a big deal and just want to coach just to try to win with those kids, I think he would. But again, at that point, it's he said, she said. So who do we believe? What do we believe? I don't know. So at this point, just get out of there so it's not as much of a distraction before the actual game these kids got to play in a couple weeks. But
Yeah, very true.
kind of
He was a quarterback at Fresno State from 94 to 96 himself,
oh
and then has been in some sort of coaching aspect that very next year since 1997 at Fresno State. He was an assistant coach.
yeah,
So he's been coaching since 1997, bro. I mean, 20, almost 30 plus years in coaching
that's
and
crazy.
at pretty high levels, like you said, in the SEC, in the Big Ten, in the Pac 12 at one point, and then obviously in the NFL for a small stint. So he's a
Yeah.
big name, and I get why LSU went after it, but there's just a lot of stuff going around that. So I kind of wanted to cover it because it was just, woof,
Well,
a
and
lot
that
of
and it was, I mean, the talk of the fans flipping him off when he's walking to the plane, and I think I heard a
yeah,
report something about him and his son were driving on the road, and some fans from Ole Miss tried to like drive him off or hit him or something. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, man, it's just football and just a game.
yeah,
But we don't need to threaten anybody's lives over it. But also, like you said, we can't not talk about it. Like we have to
exactly,
mention it. It's a huge
exactly.
story. So
Well, he won that game. So let's move into rivalry week. That's what they just finished that Egg Bowl, Mississippi Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. It was pretty one-sided, but even in games where that should be lopsided, a lot of times those rivalry games are still fairly close. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Ole Miss won theirs, but some of the other top ones, I don't even want to talk about one of them, so we'll skip that one for now. USC beat UCLA pretty handily. Virginia beat Virginia Tech. Texas A&M lost at Texas, and they were, I think, a one-loss team
I
or an
want to say
undefeated
they
team.
might even. I think Texas A&M might have been undefeated.
It's just weird that that they would have been at. Did you change what the ranks were?
I did not. You put those
Oh,
on there
okay.
yesterday.
Okay, well then they played at 7. They were ranked 7th, which is kind of that would be pretty low for an undefeated
Yeah,
team,
maybe you're
but
right. Maybe I'm thinking. Maybe they did have one loss. Maybe it snuck in there. I don't know. There's a lot of the college football season is so hard to keep track of because there's more than just like, oh, there's like 13 games on Sunday. You know, like in the NFL, there's like 45 games on Saturday, and I can't keep
right.
track of them all.
Exactly. Even if you're only looking at the top 25, that's at least 25 games unless they're playing each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
other ones, Arizona beat ASU, Georgia looking stellar as always, beating Georgia State on the road, a ranked Georgia State this time, and Georgia
Yeah.
State always plays Georgia tough, but even a ranked one is worse. Alabama wins at Auburn, unranked Auburn, and Alabama's rolling like the Tide they are. And then feel free to talk about that one game I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, well, Ohio State won 27-9 at Michigan, and they didn't celebrate in the center of the field or anything because the
They weren't
players
allowed
were
to.
guarding the logo, not letting it happen. Now, don't get near the M. But I did see
Mhm.
Brutus crossed out the M in the end zone, just stepping on it, and then made a little OHIO in the snow on the grass. So nothing crazy, but not really much of a game. But to be honest, that wasn't really expected to be one. I know it's a
No.
rivalry. Like I said, sometimes rivalry games don't matter. It's kind of like division games when we talk about the NFL. Always
Yes.
harder than just a regular matchup. But Michigan, after the winning the title and losing Harbaugh, they've kind of come down to earth here a little bit. And Ohio State winning last year and now having a chance to go back to back. I
Yeah.
don't think we're going to let Michigan have ruin that opportunity for them. So they took care of it last weekend. So, but we can move on. Rivalry weekend's over. It's okay. You're okay.
Okay, good. Let's talk about conference title games then, since that's upcoming, and I'm go Indiana. I've never been a bigger Indiana fan my entire life, bro. I've never been a bigger Indiana
Hey, we
fan
were
than this
Indiana
week.
fans in June when we were watching basketball. Come on, we were rooting for the
That's true.
Pacers.
Yeah, yeah. My gosh, bro.
Yeah.
Why is nobody I want to win and everybody I hate win?
Yeah,
It's tough.
sometimes it
It's
goes that way,
tough.
man. We don't always get what we want when it comes to teams. I mean, you and I know we have some teams that we root for that are really bad. So.
Agree. Well, let's start with probably the least important. No offense, but this is an automatic bid. I do believe that if whoever can win in here should win. We're going with the ACC title game: Duke versus number 17 Virginia, which is crazy because Miami's in the ACC and they're highly
Mhm.
ranked, but apparently not good enough in conference to make it to
And
their championship
Virginia,
game.
like
So,
who would have thought? I mean, not only beating Virginia Tech last weekend, which is huge, obviously with the
hmm
rivalry matchup, but now you get to face Duke, who is just okay at football. They're not that great,
correct,
and so now Virginia has an opportunity to not only win the conference championship, but get into a college football playoff tournament bracket. Which, if you would have told us all that back in September, we would have thought you were crazy. No one would have thought Virginia
correct.
would be
Yeah, this
throwing
is
their hat
college
in the ring.
football playoff, not college
Yeah, not
basketball
basketball.
playoff. Right? Yeah.
Straight up.
I'm just saying, yeah, that's the crazy one. So after that would probably be the Big 12 game, BYU, 12th ranked BYU at number 4 Texas. Oh, Texas Tech is the
That's who
undefeated
it
team.
was. As you
Yeah,
were saying, I was like, Texas Tech was the one who lost.
yeah,
They were, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
yeah. So BYU at or not at, they're at actually AT&T Stadium. I guess that is closer to Texas Tech than it is to Brigham
Yeah, it
Young,
should be a
but
home game.
pretty much, yeah. So that one should be, but honestly, BYU would have to win to probably try to sneak in. Texas Tech should be in even with a loss.
Yeah, because
They
BYU is
look
12
decent.
right now. So they are
Correct,
the
yeah.
last team in, I think, essentially
I think
once
Miami's
again, winning
13.
this conference championship gets you in guarantee. But I don't know. BYU, I feel like every time they get to this point and I'm like, oh, maybe, and then it's like the Chargers. I get too excited. I'm like, oh, yeah, and then they blow it. So
Yeah.
I'm expecting Texas Tech to win, maybe get to the 3 seed in that tournament bracket, however they decide to do the thing on Sunday. But I do see BYU falling short, not making it.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Hey, but
Texas
you
Tech
know
should
what?
win the game
That
regardless,
coach is
yeah.
about to get paid because Penn State was trying to get him to come, and he apparently is going to get an extension to stay in BYU. So about to get paid.
I know a lot of people are turning down Penn State. What's up with that? The scandal was
Well,
a decade ago, right? I mean,
I don't think it's a scandal. I just you look at the Big Ten, and there's just so many teams in there now, and with NIL and
including
all of
the
them kind of ahead
Pac-12
of
teams that
you,
came over.
you might
Hmm.
just be playing catch up for too long, and it's not worth it. But if you're a younger coach who hasn't had an opportunity yet, and maybe you're like, screw it, even if I take my licks and I suck for 3 years, I get an opportunity to coach a Big Ten Power Five school and see what I can do. So
Okay, that is a fantastic point. My only pushback, because I actually agree with you, that's probably why. My only pushback is, wouldn't people have said the same thing about Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss? Like, you're in the SEC. You know how many bigger blue bloods are in the you're
I
not Ole
mean, you're
Miss.
not
What are you gonna
wrong.
get from
That's a
that? You
good
know what I mean?
point.
So
You're
I'm just
It's a
saying,
good
give
point.
Penn State a chance. They're a big team. They were good, bro. They've been good. You know,
Yeah, but
so
I think the thing is Franklin at least was never able to beat a top 10 team, I think, in his tenure there. So
ah,
they're probably thinking, well, if he can't do it and he was good and everyone liked him, who do they? That's the other thing, too. Like firing Franklin, I get a little, but is there anybody out there better that you think is going to improve the program? I just don't know,
right.
but I don't pay close enough attention. There could be a coordinator that's hot and up
True.
and coming that I don't know about. But I'm
Hmm.
just like, unless you have, I think it's John Ireland on the radio always says, unless you know who you're bringing in to replace the coach, like, it
Why
doesn't mean you
fire him?
have to fire the guy or the girl,
True.
whoever's
True.
coaching. So.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, we'll move over to the big one, SEC title game, Georgia, Bama. I mean, geez, put it on freaking repeat. Why don't we?
Dude, I don't even know why we play this game. Just put them at the Mercedes-Benz Dome every December and just
Yep.
play for
Have them
whoever's going to
play.
be.
Exactly. Who gets the higher seed? They should both make the college football playoffs. So we'll just see who gets the
I mean,
higher
they were both
seed.
making it
Yada
when we only
yada.
did 4 teams. Now we got 12. They're
Yeah.
definitely both going to be in there. So
Yeah. Yeah. So that honestly, it's going to be a freaking fantastic game, though.
yeah, it should.
Should be.
I anticipate it
I
to be good, and I don't have to work this Saturday, so I might actually get to watch some of these championship
Let's
games.
go.
Woo!
Nice. I know.
Exciting.
I'm stoked. I'm super excited to watch these games. I can't. The every single time I think about these, specifically the Georgia Alabama game, I think back to the punter. What's his name?
Punter.
Yeah. Pat McAfee. Sorry.
Oh,
I think back to Pat McAfee when he was on game day last year trying to pick this game and he starts singing the Georgia Bulldog chant. And, who's
yep.
that coming down? Right. Oh, and then at the end he just says, give me Alabama. Oh my gosh. I love it. And the whole crowd's just pissed off. I was rolling with that. And as an Alabama fan ish, I guess, kind of, because actually maybe I should switch. Georgia seems to be more of the dominant force lately, right? In the
True.
SEC.
Yeah.
Go dogs. Woo, woo, woo. No, I'm
I
just
say I think
kidding.
without Nick Saban, I mean, it's just it's a little different vibe down in Alabama.
It's true. Kalen DeBoer is not doing terrible though. To be
No,
honest
but
with
it's
you.
just it's a different way of going and doing things
Yeah,
compared to what they're used to. So
exactly. And then it comes down to the Big Ten title game, 1 and 2. Honestly, they should still be 1 and 2 after this. Doesn't really matter. The winner should be 1, and the loser should be 2. It doesn't. You know what I mean? These two
well,
teams
unless
are
Ohio State beats them by like 35, 40 points, then maybe you could drop Indiana down a spot or two. But yeah, I'm with you. For regardless of who wins this game, if it's close, they're probably going to be 1 and 2 regardless. So it doesn't matter. Just hope for a good game.
so. Let's go Hoosiers.
I guess that's the different definition of good game for you and I here. I don't care who wins. I just want something close. But
Oh no! I want Ohio State to lose by 4,000. I know it's not really feasible, but come on.
hey, you never know.
Yeah, but after all the college football championship games or conference title games this weekend, we do have the selection Sunday 12/7 at noon Eastern on ESPN. Make sure you tune
Yep.
in. You can see if your favorite team made it to the college football playoff. Again, I think there's going to be some surprises. There's some teams that are hanging around the bottom that
Mhm.
don't play this weekend, and they still are kind of have a pretty viable spot to kind of sneak in, depending on what happens with the games that are being played this weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. Anybody besides Ohio State that you think can kind of maybe make a run that's caught your eye this year?
Well, I'm just thinking Oregon will probably sneak in there, and I don't know for
I
some
agree.
reason, even though they're not like high flying scoring like they usually are, I feel like for some reason that's a better situation for them. It's more of a grimy, like dirty
Balanced.
football game and balance. That's a good word to say. So I kind of expect them to make a run, but I, I I know there's still talk of like if things fell down, like Texas as a 3 loss team could get in or SC, but I don't think any of that's going to happen. I think if you got 3 losses, you shouldn't be in. I think 2 or less, and I'm with you. I think Indiana, Ohio State doesn't matter who wins; they're going to be 1 and 2, so it's ultimately going to
Hmm.
go through them. and the defending champion Ohio State Buckeyes, I think. So let's just hope for some good games, and then I guess we'll wake up Sunday morning and get that bracket done before we start our NFL Sunday at 10 o'clock. So we got that hour before to get pumped up and ready for the college playoff, and then we can talk about all that shit Sunday afternoon and night about how we're mad about the bracket.
Exactly.
Because
Yep,
nobody's
very
ever
true.
going to be happy. Let's be honest.
No, why would you be?
That's too easy.
Yeah, I'm rooting for. I mean, the field, basically, right? I guess.
The
But
other
honestly,
11
I'm a.
teams, it'll be
I'll take the field, please. Thank you so much. I don't even care who's in the field. Just give me the field. Anybody but them. Anybody but them. But I'm thinking, obviously, one of the big SEC schools I think has a chance. Georgia and Alabama obviously are always good, and then I think Texas Tech. I think they have a really. To be honest with you, I was watching some of the highlights from them last week, and I think they have a really balanced team. They can throw the ball, which is something I saw Michigan can't do. Now I'll give them a break. There's a true freshman quarterback, so but they can throw it, they can run it, they play good defense. So I'm thinking obviously one of the SEC schools or maybe Texas Tech can make a run. So that's who I'm kind of going for. But again, rooting for literally anybody but that team.
just not that blue and gold team or the scarlet.
Exactly.
Red. I'm sorry, the scarlet red.
Stupid
man.
I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Ugh, they're just something else, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
we all got it, man. We all got one of those teams that's a rival we just can't deal with or put up with. So
exactly. And they're it for me. So anyways, let us know down in the comments below who you've got winning that Big Ten title game. I know who I'm rooting for.
Also hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok at RVUFTB and tell us why OHIO is going to win big this weekend.
Boo!
I had to get it in there. Come on.
Fine. Boo.
As always, we appreciate everyone for stopping by.
And same things from Arby from the bench. Remember, nobody loves you. Jesus loves you. Peace.
This was a Sycamore Fourth Studios production.